2 weeks ago we visited cities lost for centuries: Petra, 2,000 years old; Machu Picchu, 600; Angkor Wat, 1,000. We called them ancient. Today I want to recalibrate what that word means, because everything we have visited, every stone, every carved wall, every abandoned temple, is new. Geologically speaking, cosmically speaking, in the context of what this planet has actually been doing for 4.5 billion years, a 2,000-year-old city is practically a news story. Today, we are going to places where 2,000 years is nothing, where human civilization itself is nothing, places that existed before our species took its first breath, before the dinosaurs, before complex life of any kind, before the oceans looked anything like the way they do now. Places so old that when you stand in them you stop feeling like a person and start feeling like a very brief idea that the universe is having. Stay until the end, because the last place on this list has been here for 3.5 billion years, and it is still alive. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Before everything we know. If you had to pick one place on Earth that most completely destroys everything you thought you knew about human history, it would be this: Göbekli Tepe, eastern Turkey, on a limestone hilltop above the Harran Plain. A series of circular stone enclosures containing carved limestone pillars arranged in precise patterns, built 12,000 years ago. Let that number settle. Stonehenge was built 5,000 years ago. The Egyptian pyramids, 4,500. Göbekli Tepe is more than twice as old as either. It predates writing. It predates pottery. It predates agriculture. It predates every other monumental structure ever discovered on this planet by several thousand years. And yet someone built it. Someone quarried and transported and carved limestone pillars weighing up to 20 tons. Someone arranged them in precise geometric patterns. Someone decorated them with extraordinary relief carvings of animals: foxes, vultures, scorpions, wild boars, lions, ducks, with an artistic sophistication that nobody believed existed 12,000 years ago. The people who built Göbekli Tepe were hunter-gatherers. We did not believe hunter-gatherers built anything. We believed civilization, agriculture, permanent settlement, organized society came first. Then monuments followed. Göbekli Tepe reversed that entirely. The monument came before everything else. Before farming, before cities, before writing, before almost everything we associate with the word civilization. Which raises a question that archaeologists have been struggling with since 1994, when this site was first excavated. If hunter-gatherers built this, why? What were they doing here? What required the organized labor of potentially hundreds of people over generations to construct? What were they worshipping? What were they celebrating? And perhaps most mysteriously of all, why did they bury it? Around 10,000 years ago, after what appears to have been centuries of use, the people who built Göbekli Tepe deliberately filled every enclosure with soil. They buried their own monument under tons of earth and walked away. For 12,000 years it remained buried on that hilltop, invisible, unknown. In 1994, a Kurdish farmer noticed some unusual stones breaking the surface while he was working his field. What he had found changed the entire timeline of human civilization. There is a place on the western coast of Australia called Shark Bay. The water is shallow and warm and extraordinarily salty, too salty for most marine life. The light is intense, the landscape is flat and quiet and slightly alien. In the shallows near a place called Hamlin Pool, there are lumpy, gray formations rising from the seabed. From above they look like smooth gray rocks. From the surface they look like moss-covered boulders. They do not look like anything particularly significant. They are 3.5 billion years old. They are also alive. Stromatolites, from the Greek for layered rocks, are the oldest living structures on Earth. They are built by communities of cyanobacteria, among the simplest organisms that exist. Each individual stromatolite grows at a rate of roughly 0.5 millimeter per year. For 2 billion years, from approximately 3.5 billion years ago to approximately 1.5 billion years ago, these organisms were the dominant life form on this planet. There was nothing else. No fish, no plants, no insects, no animals of any kind. just stromatolites and the ocean and the sky. And as they photosynthesized, and as they slowly, molecule by molecule, converted sunlight and carbon dioxide into energy, they released oxygen as a byproduct. Not a lot of oxygen at first, but over hundreds of millions of years, the oxygen they released accumulated in the atmosphere. Before the stromatolites, Earth's atmosphere had almost no free oxygen. After them, gradually, over an almost incomprehensible period of time, the atmosphere became breathable. Without the stromatolites, there is no oxygen in the atmosphere. Without oxygen in the atmosphere, there are no animals. Without animals, there are no humans. The lumpy gray formations in the shallow water at Shark Bay are your oldest living ancestors. The very beginning of the chain that ends with you, right now, watching this. You can walk to the edge of the boardwalk at Hamelin Pool and look at them. 3.5 billion years of unbroken life. Still here. Still growing at 0.5 millimeter per year. Most places on Earth you cannot see time. You know it is past. You can read about it. You can be told about it. You can try to imagine it, but you cannot see it. The Grand Canyon is the exception. The Colorado River has been cutting through the Colorado Plateau for approximately 5 to 6 million years. In doing so, it has exposed layers of rock that were laid down over a period of nearly 2 billion years. Those layers are visible from the rim. You can see them, different colors stacked on top of each other. Red and orange and cream and gray and brown. Each layer a different age, a different era, a different chapter of this planet's story. The canyon is 446 kilometers long, up to 29 kilometers wide at its broadest point, 1,800 meters deep at its deepest. From above, from a plane or a drone, the scale is genuinely impossible for the brain to process normally. The Colorado River at the very bottom looks like a thin brown thread. It is in reality a significant river. The canyon walls make it look like a thread because everything in the Grand Canyon exists at a scale that human perception was not built for. The oldest rocks exposed at the very bottom of the canyon, visible when the river runs low, are approximately 1.8 billion years old. The rocks at the rim are approximately 270 million years old. Between those 2 points, between the rim and the river, there are 1.5 billion years of Earth history stacked up and visible. In layers. All at once. There are gaps in the record, places where entire eras are missing, where erosion removed what time had built, where the geological story skips millions of years in a single line. Geologists call these unconformities. Standing at the rim looking at them, these lines where one era ends and another begins with nothing in between, you are looking at some of the most dramatic evidence of deep time that exists on this planet. The Grand Canyon does not make you feel small exactly, it makes you feel correctly sized. It reminds you of the actual scale of things. It is one of the most honest places on Earth. In 2009, a film set on the planet Pandora showed floating mountains covered in vegetation hovering above a vast alien landscape. The filmmakers did not invent those mountains entirely. They were inspired by a place in Hunan Province, China, Zhangjiajie, 3,000 quartzite sandstone pillars rising from the forest floor of a dramatic gorge system. Some of them stand 300 meters tall. Many of them are topped with soil and vegetation, small independent ecosystems that have evolved in isolation from the forest below, separated by hundreds of meters of vertical rock. The pillars formed over 300 million years. The rock itself, quartz sandstone, was deposited at the bottom of a shallow sea that covered this part of China in the Paleozoic era. The sea retreated, the land rose, and then wind, rain, ice, and geological time went to work, dissolving, eroding, collapsing, removing everything soft and leaving the hardest rock, standing in the shapes you see today. The shapes you see today are 300 million years in the making. The shallow sea that produced this rock is gone. The marine creatures whose shells contributed to the sandstone are extinct. The entire geological context that made Zhangjiajie possible has vanished. Only the pillars remain. From above, especially in the morning when mist fills the gorges between the pillars, Zhangjiajie is genuinely one of the most visually extraordinary landscapes on Earth. The pillars emerge from the mist like islands in a white sea. Their flat tops are green with trees that have never been touched by human feet. The gorges between them are so deep that the forest floor is invisible. It looks rendered, it looks designed, it looks like something imagined. It is 300 million years old. There is a lake in Siberia that is 25 million years old. Most lakes last 10,000 years before filling with sediment or draining. Lake Baikal has survived 25 million. It has watched species evolve and go extinct. It has outlasted multiple ice ages. It has seen the land around it rise and fall and change almost beyond recognition. Baikal is also the deepest lake on Earth, 1642 meters at its deepest point, and it contains more fresh water than any other lake on the planet. Approximately 20% of all the unfrozen surface fresh water on Earth, more than the combined volume of all 5 of North America's Great Lakes. Because it has been isolated for so long, because the water is extraordinarily cold and oxygen-rich and pure, it has developed an ecology unlike any other freshwater system on Earth. Over 3,000 species of plants and animals live in Lake Baikal. More than 2/3 of them exist nowhere else on the planet, including a freshwater seal. The Baikal seal, the Nerpa, is one of the only exclusively freshwater seals on Earth. It has been in this lake for so long that it has completely forgotten what the ocean is. Its ancestors came from the Arctic Ocean during a period of geological upheaval millions of years ago. The ocean connection closed. The seals stayed. Over millions of years they adapted completely to fresh water. The Nerpa has been in Lake Baikal longer than humans have existed as a species. In winter, Baikal freezes completely, the ice up to 2 meters thick. The ice is so clear and so pure that you can see meters down through it. In some places, you can see the lake bottom. Standing on the surface of the ice above the deepest lake on Earth, looking down through clear ice at dark water far below, is one of the most disorienting and extraordinary experiences this planet offers. 25 million years of water, moving, still, waiting. 30 million years ago, this part of what is now New Zealand was under the sea. Layers of limestone were building up slowly on the ocean floor, the accumulated shells and bones and calcium carbonate of millions of marine creatures, compressing over millions of years into rock. Then, the land rose. The sea retreated, and rainwater began its slow chemical work of dissolving the limestone from the inside. Over 30 million years, the water carved passages and chambers through the rock. Some of them became caves, large enough to walk through. One of them, the glowworm grotto at Waitomo, became a cathedral. The ceiling of the glowworm grotto is covered in thousands of small blue lights. They are not lights. They are the bioluminescent lure threads of Arachnocampa luminosa, the New Zealand glowworm, a species of fungus gnat larva found only in New Zealand. Each tiny larva attaches itself to the cave ceiling and hangs between 10 and 70 luminescent threads below it. The threads are sticky. The threads glow blue. Flying insects are attracted to the light and become trapped in the threads. The glowworm grotto contains thousands of them. From below, floating through the cave on a small boat in complete silence, the ceiling looks exactly like a clear night sky. Deep black with thousands of blue-white stars distributed across it, except these stars are alive, and they are hunting. The cave is 30 million years old. The species that illuminates it exists nowhere else on Earth. The experience of floating beneath that ceiling cannot be adequately described in words. Every person who has been there says the same thing. Nothing prepared me for this. For approximately 20 million years, while the rest of the world's species were mixing and competing and adapting to a connected world, the island of Socotra was completely alone, isolated in the Arabian Sea, cut off by ocean from Arabia, Africa, and the Indian subcontinent, surrounded by some of the most treacherous seasonal seas on Earth that made landing almost impossible for much of the year. While the rest of the world's flora and fauna evolved together, borrowing from each other, replacing each other, competing with each other, Socotra evolved entirely alone. The result is an island that looks like it belongs on a different planet. The dragon blood tree, the most iconic species on Socotra, grows only here. Its canopy is shaped like an inverted umbrella, dense and flat, designed to capture moisture from the mist that rolls in from the sea. When the bark is cut, it bleeds a deep red sap that has been prized for thousands of years. Its root system is shallow and spreading, adapted to anchor in the limestone rock of this specific island. It exists nowhere else on Earth. 37% of Socotra's plant species exist nowhere else on Earth. NASA. Scientists studying extremophile environments have described Socotra as the most alien-looking place on our planet. It has a postcode. You can fly there from Dubai in 2 hours. There is a particular feeling that comes from spending time with places like these. It is not exactly humility, though it is related to humility. It is something closer to perspective, a recalibration of scale. We build cities and call them ancient when they reach 1,000 years. We look at Petra and Machu Picchu and Angkor Wat with genuine awe at what human civilization produced. And we should. Those places are extraordinary. The human capacity to build, to organize, to create meaning in stone and wood and metal is extraordinary. But this planet was making extraordinary things for 4 billion years before we arrived, carving canyons 2 billion years in the making, building mountains out of ancient seafloor, creating organisms that would oxygenate an entire atmosphere over hundreds of millions of years, isolating islands for 20 million years until evolution produced things that exist nowhere else. We are the newest thing here, by an almost incomprehensible margin. The stromatolites in Shark Bay have been photosynthesizing since before complex life existed. Lake Baikal has been collecting water since before most mammals appeared. The dragon blood trees of Socotra have been evolving in isolation since before our genus, Homo, existed at all. Standing in these places does not make you feel insignificant. It makes you feel part of something much larger than the human story, which is the most significant feeling I know. Which of these places would you most want to stand in? Tell me in the comments. And tell me, does knowing how old they are change how you see them? Subscribe to TravelMINJ. Every week we take you somewhere that changes how you see the world. Next Sunday, we are going somewhere that looks so impossible that the color itself seems wrong. Places where the water, or the land, or the sky, is a color that your brain insists cannot be natural. It is natural, and you can visit. See you Sunday.